Specializes in erasing history. They wiggle away from accountability all the time, whether it's colonial reparations or racism. This dodginess extends to climate action as well. They blame India and China for global warming. But what about their own industrialization, their own emissions? Europe prefers to not talk about that. They say things are much better today, that Europe is leading the 21st century climate battle. Turns out, it is just another lie. Let me show you some pictures. These are from Europe's gas plants, some of the biggest on the continent. From outside, everything looks normal. No plumes of smoke, no leaks, everything seems to be in order. Now we're going to swap cameras. We're going from normal to infrared. Do you see the difference? Do you notice the steady stream leaking from the pipes? This is methane, the second biggest cause of global warming. You can't see it with your naked eyes because methane is colorless. But these infrared cameras can catch it. A climate watchdog went around Europe with these cameras. They inspected more than 200 plants. Guess what they found? Methane was leaking at 123 oil and gas sites. They're all over Europe. In Austria, Germany, Italy, Hungary, Poland, some of the self-proclaimed champions of Earth. Why is there no action against these gas plants? Because technically, there is nothing illegal about it. The European Union does not have laws curbing emission of methane. So these companies are not breaking any law. They're going by the book. It's a classic case of governments ignoring outdated laws because these leaks are completely preventable. Let me tell you how with a crash course on methane. It reaches our atmosphere in two ways, through leaking and venting. Leaks are pretty self-explanatory, but venting is slightly more complicated. When crude oil and coal are extracted, a few unwanted gases are produced. Methane is one of them. What do companies do with these gases? They release them into the atmosphere. That's called venting. Scientists say this is avoidable. Existing technology can be used to cut down emission at the source.
There is a lot of methane coming out. If this is confirmed, this methane can be recovered and used. I mean, everybody here uses methane. There is an industrial area here using a lot of methane. Why we have to put it in the sky and contribute to the destruction of our climate? So there must be more rational ways in year 2021 to use methane instead of venting in the atmosphere.
Does Europe have this technology? Of course it does. Then why are gas plants still releasing methane? For a bloc that has laws on bendy bananas and the color of your cheese, this is criminal negligence. The European Union realizes this. In fact, they are now drawing up new rules on methane leaks and venting. But don't expect quick results. These rules will go through the infamous EU bureaucracy. Leaders will debate, argue, and blame each other. And all this time, methane will continue to leak. This is tragic news because methane is the most dangerous during its first 20 years in the atmosphere, almost 80% more potent than carbon dioxide. So methane is not a long-term threat. Its effects are more immediate than other greenhouse gases. And it's not just leaking in Europe. The entire developed world is guilty of this. In 2019, the New York Times used infrared cameras to capture methane leaks in the US. And there were similar pictures from Russia as well. These countries have flooded the atmosphere with greenhouse gases. But it's difficult to pin the blame because in the case of methane, there is literally no smoking gun. You need a camera worth $120,000 to see the leaks. So these countries act innocent and then peddle pictures of smoking factories in India and Brazil. As I said in the beginning, wiggling away from responsibility, the developed world never did stop polluting. They still churn out greenhouse gases, but their biggest trick was convincing the world to play along, to believe that Europe's chapter of pollution is behind them. In that sense, these methane leaks are almost poetic, an invisible gas to front a big lie. And we're not done with Europe. Keep your politics and your palate separate. That's a good piece of advice for every politician. People are very touchy about their food, borderline aggressive. So telling people what to eat can land you in trouble. But what if your palate is political? What if your eating habits impact government policy? One minister in Spain decided to talk about it. Alberto Garzón is the Consumer Affairs Minister of Spain. Last week, he went online with some culinary advice. Eat less meat, he said. Protect your planet.
What would you think if I told you that the consumption of excessive amounts of meat is damaging for our health and that of our planet? This question has motivated the need to make this video. I'm worried about the health of our citizens and I'm worried about the health of our planet.
You can guess what happened next. Spaniards dined on Garzón's comments. He got served on social media. His own cabinet colleagues disowned him, and 6 meat-producing associations wrote him a letter. Their message was straightforward: stay off our plates. When the backlash became unbearable, the minister tried to firefight. He said he wasn't proposing a ban, but a more measured consumption pattern, basically rationing our meat. And frankly, he has a point. Spanish regulators recommend eating up to 500 grams of meat a week. But the average Spaniard eats almost a kilogram, twice the recommended amount. This uncontrolled consumption has consequences. It directly affects the environment. Let me show you some numbers. Nearly 26% of global emissions come from the food industry. Out of this, 58% come from animal products, and half of it is just beef and lamb. So what's the link here? How does the meat industry affect our planet? It has to do with scale. The UK Greenpeace calls it industrial meat. You see, there's a big network between the farms and your table, and this network is dominated by corporates. Here's an example, JBS. It is the world's largest meat processing company based out of Brazil. They emit nearly half as much greenhouse gases as oil giants like Shell and BP. Meat production depends on deforestation. JBS, for example, is eating into the Amazon rainforests. For livestock to be reared, land must be reclaimed. And where does this land come from? Chopping and burning forests. So eating meat is not a culinary choice anymore. It is becoming a climate change policy. And it's not just meat. All dairy products have a similar impact on the planet. So experts want us to reduce meat and dairy consumption by 20%. This would save 7 million tons of carbon dioxide from farms. So the science checks out. But can we just wind up the meat industry overnight? No, we can't. It employs millions of people worldwide, sustains families, adds to the GDP. Not to mention, our food is linked to our culture and religion. So how do you balance this decision? For starters, you can never force this on someone. Instead, governments must look at incentives, ways to draw people away from meat. This could be higher taxes, even artificial substitutes. A few restaurants are already trying them out. Their creators swear by the taste. And don't forget the workers, the millions of people who work in this industry, the meat industry. They will need new jobs if the world walks away from meat. And that's the worry in Spain. The meat industry employs 2.5 million workers. Their exports are worth almost $10 billion. So Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is not swearing off meat just yet. In fact, he says a medium-cooked meat chop is unbeatable. Perhaps he's right. But survival trumps taste. Right now, our consumption patterns are over the top. We're spending way too much water, produce, and fuel to fill up plates. And this is neither healthy nor sustainable. But the solution is not banning meat or making a vegan earth. The solution is rationing, treating meat as a food source, not as a pleasure to exploit. Think about it. And since we're talking about debates, here's another one. The debate over vaccine cocktails. Many countries have begun mixing and matching vaccines. They're administering people with 2 doses of separate Wuhan virus vaccines, meaning if your first dose is, say, an AstraZeneca, the second dose could be a Moderna or a Pfizer. The World Health Organization has warned against this. But some of the world leaders have already endorsed it and tried it on themselves. Among them is German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. What's more,
this thing, man, it's
both
all
these leaders
bad,
have
man.
inoculated themselves, as I said, with vaccine cocktails.
Wow.
Does this mean that mix and match vaccines are safe? Our next report has the answer.
In Thailand, those who received a made-in-China vaccine as their first dose will now be given a second dose of AstraZeneca. In Canada, those who received the first dose of AstraZeneca will get a second dose of Pfizer-BioNTech or Moderna. This
Man,
is
it ain't gonna
called
work. It's
heterologous
bad, man.
vaccination.
They don't
Meaning
they know science,
inoculating a
man?
person with a
Come on,
combination
man.
of different vaccines. In this case, a combination of different Wuhan virus vaccines.
That's how
This
you
is
get
the new
that's how you get
vaccination
deep
trend,
variants. That's how
and
you
it
get
is
new
being
variants of the
endorsed for
vaccine.
reasons
I mean,
various
the
and many.
virus. That's exactly how you get new variants.
Studies have ruled in favor of vaccine cocktails. The first study was published on the 18th of May. It says heterologous vaccination regimen is highly immunogenic, meaning vaccine cocktails produce high immune response. An Oxford study on mix and match vaccines found that Pfizer-BioNTech and Oxford AstraZeneca generate strong immune response against Wuhan virus spike protein.
And my question would
This
be,
study was
what is in
published
these
in
viruses?
June
Why,
2021.
if I
Even
can't
before the
pause it. Oh
month.
my God. Okay, yeah, now let me pause it. So my question would be, since if you're able to mix these two vaccines and you're able to get a stronger immune response, then how come what's different in each vaccine, and why isn't both of them whatever is in each vaccine, why isn't that the same stuff in both vaccines? Does that make sense? If it's in one vaccine and you give you another vaccine and they give you a whole other set of coverages, that means when you get one vaccination, you're not covered for another one, right? That's by logic, that's what that would mean.
If you may. Thailand announced mixing vaccines after over 600 of its medical workers were found infected with the Wuhan virus. This even after 2 doses of China's Sinovac vaccine. At least one nurse died of the Wuhan virus despite taking the Chinese vaccine. Something
I wouldn't take
similar
nothing
is
Chinese,
playing out
man.
in Indonesia. Frontline workers are testing positive despite vaccination with Sinovac. Made in China vaccines are proving to be as bad as made in China toys.
I told you nothing from China. I'm taking nothing from them,
Experts
man.
are also
We need to
endorsing
boycott
vaccine
anything Chinese, man.
cocktails to neutralize the Delta variant. A booster shot of mRNA is being recommended for those inoculated with a single shot vaccine. Case in point, the Johnson & Johnson jab. There is no official recommendation from the
My
CDC
arms still
yet,
hurt, man.
and
For
the World
real.
Health
I'm not
Organization
playing.
is warning
I'm not playing. My
against
arm still
vaccine
hurts, man, from the
cocktails.
vaccine. My
It's a
shoulder
little bit of a
still hurts,
dangerous
man.
trend here where people,
Why is it dangerous again?
there is limited data on mix and match. There are studies going on. We need to wait for that, and maybe it will be a very good approach. But at the moment, we only have data on the AZ vaccine, Oxford AstraZeneca, followed by Pfizer.
The data on mixing Pfizer and AstraZeneca is positive. But we have nothing when it comes to mixing AstraZeneca with a Chinese vaccine. The failure of Chinese jabs is making countries like Thailand
That's because
desperate.
Chinese vaccine is water.
It will be a chaotic situation in countries if citizens start, deciding when and who they should be taking a second or a third or a fourth dose.
Israel has started
It's a
administering
long
a
story,
third
Sister
dose of
Sunday.
Pfizer.
It's a long story.
Canada is unlikely to turn back on vaccine cocktails. The WHO's waning credibility means that countries take their own calls. Plus, Chinese vaccines are forcing countries to look for alternatives. Ask Thailand. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
What would you do if your government decides who you should be dating? If your government decides when and how you introduce your partner to your parents? What would you do if your state picks who you marry? I know this sounds bizarre, and this bizarre is playing out in Iran, also in some other countries, although more discreetly. Let's start with Iran. The country has redefined control by playing a matchmaker. Iran has unveiled a dating app, an Islamic dating app. It's called Hamdam, meaning companion. Hamdam is unlike any other dating app. You can't just sign up, swipe left and right and have a conversation and then go on a date.
You get selected
Iran's
by the
dating app
Uber.
requires you to take a psychology test. And once you find a match,
A psychology
the app
test?
steps in. It introduces the families. Not just that. Service consultants arrange and attend these meets. Wait, wasn't this supposed to be a dating app? Well, it was. And last we checked, dating was not the same as marriage. I mean, you can always date with the intention of getting married, but such relationships do not include introducing your parents even before you've met your date. Dating and marriage are not the same thing. But Iran does not understand this. Its birth rate has dropped 25% over the last 4 years, 25%. And the
Wow,
Islamic
that's black
Republic is
people levels.
desperately looking for people it can marry off and expect babies from.
That's down to black people levels, man. Our birth rate is dropping like that, man. Think about it.
Exclusively designed by the State Islamic Propaganda Organization. The app claims to be for those who are, quote unquote, seeking permanent marriage and a single spouse. Well, what about those who aren't? Those who aren't looking to jump into marriage even before getting to know a person. Can they continue using the more normal dating applications? The likes of Tinder and Bumble, they're quite popular in Iran, we are told. But Iran's cyberspace police chief, Colonel Ali Mohammad Rajabi, says all dating apps except Hamdam are illegal in Iran. Does this mean they'll all be banned soon? Well, we do not have confirmation on that yet. But by the looks of it, those looking for love online in Iran may soon have just two options: sign up for Hamdam and get married, or stay single. Here's a question. What do you think happens when a state starts telling you who you should be dating? This question is sadly no longer hypothetical. States are already dictating your dating life. And I will show you what it looks like. In 2020, Pakistan banned Tinder. It also banned the LGBTQ dating app called Grindr. Why? Immoral/indecent content, said Pakistan. Earlier this year, the White House teamed up with dating apps that encouraged the apps to give greater visibility to those who are vaccinated. Well, how do you verify someone's Wuhan virus vaccination status on a dating application? You can't. But here's what you can do. Manipulate a user's preference through algorithms. If a user is shown just a couple of hand-picked profiles, he or she is likely to swipe right on at least one. Iran's Hamdam app aims to achieve this very end.
Didn't this sound like a eugenics program?
To be using
That's eugenics right there, man. The government can now drive. They can drive who's with who and what person is going to be with what. So they can totally drive this eugenics program right there.
Countries are filtering the pool of people you can meet, you can date, maybe eventually you marry. By filtering who you meet, the state is interfering with your choice, your right to choice. Pakistan won't even allow you to access platforms where you can meet LGBTQ partners, people of same sexual orientation. These are popular platforms. Between September 2019 and September 2020, Tinder was downloaded 440,000 times in Pakistan, Grindr 300,000 times. You see the numbers. These platforms were an alternative to traditional matchmaking in the world's second most populous Muslim nation. In conservative countries like Iran and Pakistan, dating apps are often a medium of expression, a way to break free from age-old taboos, meet people with common preferences, have conversations that you otherwise cannot in open spaces. But expression can be immoral in some countries. In Iran, it's illegal. And these countries are more than happy to play moral police. You see, we no longer live in times where people are introduced at book clubs or photography societies. The world has moved online. Dating has moved online. The pandemic has accelerated this. In 2020, there were 11% more swipes on Tinder alone. These apps were also means of addressing loneliness and isolation for some, meeting new people outside of work, outside of home. It's on these dating apps that youth today are looking for love. 30% of American adults tried online dating in 2019. 39% of American homosexual couples met online. By the end of this year, there'll be at least 370 million active users on dating apps worldwide. Online dating is a $3.2 billion market. It's a market that some countries are unfairly tapping into and dictating terms to. And by doing so, interfering with who we date, how we date. States today are bulldozing your choice, also stepping into your bedroom. With that, it's a wrap. We're leaving you as always with Gravitas Images. Thanks for watching.
What's up, DOD? There was something I wanted to see. I was trying to rewind it, man, but it looked like they had a. Hold on a second. Let me pause this. So yeah, they had their the DVR on. So I was trying to get. It was showing what was going on in China, in the South China Sea. Let me see if I can get to it. Let me see if I can find another story on it, man. It was amazing, and it actually had me like, man, hold on, man. South China Sea waste. Here we go. Here we go, man. Look at this. Watch this.
Meanwhile, China says that it has the world's largest 5G mobile network. It also says it has the world's largest car market, the biggest market of computers, of television, mobile phones, electronics. It's a long list. The achievements that China's PR machinery proudly lists time and again. But here's something that they never tell you. China doesn't have enough space to flush its waste. So it is dumping catastrophic levels of human waste into the South China Sea, into waters that it doesn't even control. What's worse, the dumping levels are so high and intense that the waste has formed clusters. It can be seen from space. You have to see this to believe it.
These satellite images have been released by
Look at that, man.
Similarity,
Come
an
on, man.
American geospatial firm. They show how human waste released from Chinese ships has accumulated in clusters in the South China Sea. The first image shows you the ships. The second one shows you the unsavory waste they leave behind. These images are from the Tetley Reef region, some 1,300 kilometers away from Chinese coasts. And there are more. Look at these images. They're from the Johnson South Reef. Again, the first image shows you Chinese ships. The second one, a word that rhymes. And these are not the only two reefs China is polluting with human waste. Look at this image now. It shows dumping vessels from China stationed all across the Union Banks, which are part of the larger Spratly Islands.
I don't trust nothing Chinese, man.
Ships are
Come on,
present
man.
near the
Look
Collins
at that,
Reef,
man.
the Hughes Reef, and the Ross Reef. This is not old data. All three sets of images are from June 2021. They show the incalculable damage China is causing, and that too to marine areas it
Hey,
doesn't
beautiful soul. What's
even
up, Miss
control.
Eunice? How y'all doing?
According to Liz Durr, the CEO of Similarity, the hundreds of ships that are anchored there are dumping raw sewage every day onto the reefs they are occupying. When the ships don't move, the waste piles up. This is a catastrophe of epic proportions, and we are close to the point of no return. This needs to stop immediately. There is merit in this warning, because these reefs feed the inhabitants of the entire South China Sea region. The following chronology tells you how.
These are some. Let's talk about what we do know. We know that when right now there's whatever humans let's say we ingest something, it comes out. It's got to come out somewhere, right? So we got Prozac, we got these drugs, we got vaccines, all the stuff that our body is ingesting, and then our liver goes through it and produce and runs through it, and then it turns it into waste, and then we're going, we expel the waste. So imagine all these vaccines and these different drugs that people are taking, that are given, that are not tested, or that are Chinese, that we know are just bad. They're taking this stuff, and then their waste is going here, and then they're dumping the waste onto the food supply. Then the food now is on the food supply. What is the food supply eating? The food supply is eating the human waste. And guess who eats the food supply? The humans. And so it gets worse. Okay, let me hit play, man.
Oh, the larvae for the fish that inhabit South China Sea come largely from coral reefs. Spratly Islands are home to the biggest coral reefs in the entire region. By monsoon, the larva settled along these islands gets distributed all over the sea. They become food for fish, that in return become fishery stocks for nations situated around the South China Sea and end up on the plates of their citizens. This includes the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. What does this tell you? That this is not a problem for one nation or one economic zone. This is a health catastrophe that is impacting several nations. What will it take to end it? Convincing China to flush its waste on its own land. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Wow, man. Wow. So, hold on. First, I guess thanks so much for coming in, y'all. I really appreciate y'all coming in today for my little stream, whatever. Part of the reason I'm doing the stream is yesterday on my guy Uncle Suge's channel, he had a thing where he had a lady named Miss Hicks, and it wasn't a positive stream, and I wanted to turn it into something positive. So what I did is I made a link. Miss Hicks is actually she's I wouldn't say she's developmentally dyslexic. She's got some mental issues going on, and I'm not sure the appropriate term for it. So let's just say she has some things going on. The Easter Seals helped her get her job. She seems like she's a fantastic lady, and she actually has her own YouTube channel. And something that she said that kind of jumped out to me is that she's like, hey, she makes videos and she wants to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I decided that I'm going to do whatever I can to help her get to 1,000 subscribers. So there are a lot of people who have a lot of indignation, and that's what I'm going to call it, because they're talking about Suge and saying, literally are doing live streams where they're talking about him and talking about how wrong this was, but yet still they're not offering any solution. So me, I like to be solution focused. I like to live in a place of abundance, a place where we actually can utilize all of our resources to help each other, rather than use our resources to tear each other down. So I see this as an opportunity to be able to help this lady get to 1,000 subs. So what I did is I created this link, and all you have to do, I'm going to drop this link right here in the chat. All you have to do, and that's all I'm asking you to do, is just click the link. Okay? If you click the link, it will automatically subscribe you to her channel. So far, we've added on another 50 since yesterday afternoon. We've added on 50 subscribers to her channel. So, hey, think about it. If everybody here who watches this video, if they come in and they click the link, if they share the link and have their friends click it, let's say if we get 100 people and they get 2 people apiece to click the link. Literally, that's all you have to do is just click the link and it will subscribe you to our channel. There's no effort at all. The effort is like what you would normally do is click. That's it. That's all I'm asking. I'm going to stay live. I'm going to continue like streaming news or whatever until, I'd like to see her get, I'm going to do whatever I can, man, to help this lady get to 1,000 subscribers, man. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to sit and point, Prince Suge was wrong. No doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. You know what I'm saying? What I'm asking, though, is, okay, now that we understand what was wrong, how can we correct what's wrong? Right on, people. So I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? How can we correct what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? What are some corrective actions that we can take? You know what I'm saying? Corrective actions we could take are just click the link, man. It's not even, it's not where, you have to go and then subscribe to the channel or look her channel up. Literally, it's this right here. Just click it. That's it. And subscribe to your channel. So, yeah, I really want to see this lady get to 1,000 subscribers, man. So I'm gonna ask everybody I know to subscribe to her channel, man. And you know what? And if you don't, If you don't ask her, if you don't ask people, somebody to help, but you got something to complain about, you can just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because you're really a part of the problem. This is a chance for you to be able to make a difference rather than being part of the problem. And with as much bullshit that we see and fuck shit that goes on every day on on YouTube, by clicking a link. I mean, I seen live streams with over 1,000 people in there. Over 1,000 people in there, and it's somebody getting drugged. All I'm asking you to do is just click a link, and you got her, and now you subscribe to this lady's channel. Thank you very much, Sonny. Thank you so much, Uppity. Thanks so much, DOD. If you have multiple channels, yeah, exactly, DOD. If you have multiple channels, man, subscribe with those channels as well, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get her up here, man. Let's get this lady to 1,000, man. We could do it, y'all. I mean, come on, man. How many? It's more than 1,000 people in the black sector, as they call it, the black sector, or the beef sector, the roast sector. You know, I mean, what's it take, man? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna complain, if you're gonna if you can't say anything to Suge if you ain't clicked this link. If you click the link, hey man, go in on him. Shit, go in on him. You know what I'm saying? Go in on it. If you click the link, if you ain't clicked this link and subscribe to our channel, shut the fuck up. So yeah, I'm asking you again, just click the link and share it. If you got multiple channels, do it with that. You know what I'm saying? So let's watch some more news. Yeah, man. You know, all these people clicking on sign camp, all that bullshit, man. You know what, man? It's much more important stuff going on in this world. Much more important stuff. You seen? We just saw something about, the vaccine. Doing a cocktail of the vaccine or whatever, man. It's just just some drama, man. It's just drama. So let's fast forward. There you go. World is one. I love this network, man.
Good evening and welcome to Gravitas. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Let's get started. This story is horrific, and it must be told. It's the story of nearly 150,000 children, 1.5 lakh children, Native Americans or indigenous children of Canada. In the late 19th century, they were forcibly put in residential schools, boarding schools run by the Catholic Church and supported by the state. Canada had 139 such schools. These children were isolated from their families. Many of them went missing. More than a century later, their remains are being recovered. Mass graves have been found in school sites, unidentified graves, hundreds of them. This is the story of Canada's cultural genocide, but the present-day government won't admit it. This is the story of genocide led by the Church, the Catholic Church, but they won't so much as apologize. All that the Pope has offered is regret. As for the indigenous people of Canada, who still make up almost 5% of the country's population, they're looking for more graves across the country. On Gravitas tonight, we'll bring you the full story. Also on the show this Friday, Twitter has taken its standoff with the government of India to a whole new level. It blocked India's IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad for 1 hour. We'll tell you what happened next. What is China doing in Tibet? Training a militia of locals to take on India in the mountainous terrain.
I see. That was the thing. People thought it was okay. People thought it was okay when Trump
variant of the Wuhan virus
got
vaccines.
hold on a second.
A report on what
people thought it was okay for Twitter to ban Trump. You never think about it when it's on the other side, man. You got to think about it when the other guy, when it gets out of control and they start affecting you. That's the thing about free speech, right? Free speech, and I know it's where Twitter's a privately owned company, but you know, that's the thing about free speech. It's free speech is here not to protect polite speech. Free speech is here to protect impolite speech. It's here to protect things that you think that are impolite, things that would offend you. Because you have no, I mean, anything short of shouting fire in a crowded movie theater should be protected at all costs. I mean, you know, otherwise anything else is censorship, man. You know, hey, you can't say that. Hey, you can't say that. And usually, what we find is people who are about forms of censorship, where they say what you can and cannot say. When they begin to limit what you can and cannot say, then that's when you begin totalitarianism, and that's a society that I do not want to live in. That's right, Sister Beautiful Soul. That's right. It goes both ways, man. And so these are the same people, you know. So if they block the President of the United States, who is the most powerful person in the world, they took away his chance to be able to speak. Now they blocked India. Then they block who else? Who else do they start blocking?
What the experts are now saying. And the UK has banned all junk food ads on TV before 9 p.m. What about other countries?
What the hell, man? They ban all junk food ads before 9 p.m.? That's crazy, man. At what point is personal? So there's something that goes with being free. Okay, there's a certain amount of responsibility that you get with being free. Okay, when you're free to be able to make the good decisions as well as the bad decisions. Those who are willing to give up a little bit of freedom for safety and security deserve neither. Again, those people who are willing to give up freedom for safety and security deserve neither, because freedom is what should be protected at all costs. You know, we get a little bit of it, man. You get a little taste of it, you know, and that's I kind of wonder, you know, do we really want to be free? I mean, do you really want to be free? Right? I mean, how many black people say they want to be free, but haven't started their own business? How many black people who say they want to be free, who don't, you know, they don't sell candy on the side, they don't do something on the side, they haven't saved, they haven't found another way to unplug from being someone else's behest. But you claim you want to be free. I work for myself, so yeah, I'm an employee. I'm an employee of my own company. But with me being an employee of my own company, it is I decide when I eat, when I don't eat, or whatever. I'm not going to let someone tell me what my family's going to eat for dinner. And what do I mean by that? When you get let's say you get a bonus. You get a bonus check. Oh, we're going to go out for steak tonight, baby. The person who gave you that bonus check just decided what your family's going to eat for dinner. Does that make sense? All right. Please click the link. Click the link and subscribe to Miss Hicks' channel. We're trying to get her to 1,000 subscribers. If you have other channels, please subscribe onto those channels. Please share the link with whoever you know, and please click it. So there we go, man. I mean, yeah, man, black people is talented, man. You know, my mom crochets. She does all kind of stuff, man. Like, I'm thinking about how many times, you know, think about, and it's funny enough, I didn't know a lot of people knock Jews. And I had some of my best friends and some of the best businessmen I've known were Jewish businessmen. And the reason why is because they're what they the position that they've taken is they've gone to provide a service. So ask yourself, what service can you provide to make someone else's life better? Now, if that service is something, if there's value that's associated with that, if there's value associated with that service you provided, you will get paid for it. Then it's something worthy, right? Anything else is a hobby, right? I mean, like, you know, what I do, like, this is YouTube. I don't get paid for YouTube, man. I mean, I do, indirectly I get paid because I have clients who I recommend to do things on YouTube, and I help them with their channels, things like that. But I've never planned on getting a channel monetized or anything like that, man. And I have channels with lots of minutes, you know, and they're not at all. What I do see though, is as a platform as, hey, help Miss Hicks get to 1,000 subscribers. Not only will you get to 1,000 subscribers, man, put on a couple of her videos, let a couple of videos play so she gets her watch hours. You know what I'm saying? Please, you know, those of you guys who have channels, who have larger channels, I'm asking you, please, man, share this link. Put this link in your description box with some sort of wording that says, "Hey, I'm trying to help Miss Hicks get to 1,000 subscribers. Please click this link." That's all you got to say in the description box of your video. And if someone watches a video and they decide to go ahead and click on it, if you put it in the comments section and you ask people to do it, the link will work no matter where it's at. If you share it to Facebook, there you go. We cook, do hair, fix houses, cars, etc. We got some kind of side hustle. The cost of living is no joke. We got it. That's right. That's right, sister. There you go. Yeah, you know, it looks like Ms. Uppy did. If you have your community tab, share that stuff and share that link on the community tab, man. Let's get this lady to 1,000 subscribers. There's no reason why. If people was going off yesterday, if we go to look to see how many views the Suge video had yesterday, where people talked about it and people, you know, gave all this thumbs down and made all this commentary, how many views that video had? If that video had over 1,000 views and she don't have 1,000 subscribers, if you felt bad about that video, you full of shit, because you should have subscribed to her channel. I mean, immediately when I saw her go up there, I super chatted and I said, "Hey, what's her channel name? I'll subscribe." I immediately went to subscribe to her channel and subscribed under all the other channels I have. And then I made this link and I'm like, please just click on it. All right, let me go ahead and play, man. Periodically, y'all know I'm gonna be stopping to do this, so you know, hey, it is what it is, right? All right.
Tell you how such ads hurt children. We begin as always with Gravitas Global Headlines.
In a major setback for Pakistan, the global terror financing watchdog retains the country on its grey list, which means that Pakistan will not be able to access financial aid from international bodies. The Financial Action Task Force says Pakistan has failed to adequately probe and prosecute members of UN-designated terror groups. The government says that it was mostly children between the ages of 12 and 14 who carried out a massacre in northeast Burkina Faso in what has been termed as the worst attack in years. On June 4th, armed assailants raided the village of Solhan, killing more than 130 people and burning down homes. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin faces up to 30 years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. In April, Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 charges of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter.
It's a rare occurrence when you can help someone achieve or reach your dreams. It's a rare occurrence. And when it says something that is so easy as just clicking a link, or I put in the URL that I have in the that's on the top of the screen, when it's something like that, and you're able to help someone achieve their dream, because this is what she said she wants. She wants to become a YouTuber. Her goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. When that's the case, and it's somebody like that, and if you can help them, then you do whichever you can in your power to help them.
The report highlights authorities' recklessness, incompetence, and wanton disregard for human life.
Canada's 8-month forensic probe into the downing of a Ukrainian Airlines passenger flight from Tehran holds Iran fully responsible for the tragedy, which killed all 176 passengers. Iran has rejected the report's findings. The husband of Belarus's opposition leader faces up to 15 years in prison if found guilty in a trial. Sergei Tikhanovsky, a popular blogger who has been critical of the Lukashenko regime, was arrested in May 2020 after planning to run for president. The arrest prompted his wife, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, to launch her presidential campaign. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is visiting the country's border with Mexico amid intense scrutiny over the administration's handling of the migrant crisis. Harris is being criticized for not visiting the border sooner, as hundreds of thousands of migrants attempt to cross into the U.S. for a better life. Authorities say 17 soldiers died while 6 soldiers were rescued, sustaining severe injuries when a helicopter crashed in the outskirts of the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The Kenyan military confirmed the crash, but did not disclose any details. In retaliation to Russian aggression, Ukraine imposes sanctions on dozens of businessmen and enterprises with alleged links to Russia's defense sector. 55 Russian banks and separatist areas in eastern Ukraine have been banned from using their assets or withdrawing capital for another 3 years. Wimbledon returns after a 1-year hiatus from Monday, but the field for the prestigious Grand Slam has seen 2 more high-profile pullouts. World number 3 Simona Halep will not defend the title she won in 2019 after failing to recover from a calf injury sustained in May at the Italian Open. Reigning men's US Open champion Dominic Thiem has also pulled out due to a wrist injury. Remember, Rafael Nadal and Naomi Osaka are also not competing. Tokyo Olympics President Seiko Hashimoto has accepted that more stringent COVID-19 countermeasures are needed for the Games, which begin next month. The comments come after 2 members of the Ugandan Olympic team tested positive following their arrival in Japan last Saturday. Japan has confirmed that one of those cases is of the highly infectious Delta variant, sparking fresh fears among an already reluctant citizenry.
Canada is unearthing its brutal history, a history where thousands of children were put forcibly in Catholic residential schools. They were torn away from their families, put in crowded boarding schools, and subjected to sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. By the end of it, thousands of children went missing. What was common among them? They all belonged to Canada's Indigenous communities. They were natives, and they all most likely died in school. We say this because the remains of these children have now been found. Canada is digging up unmarked graves, graves of children who died in the schools they were forced to attend. A few weeks ago, we reported this story from British Columbia, 215 children found in unmarked graves in a school. Now, a second mass grave has been found at another school site. What you see on your screen are pictures from Saskatchewan. A total of 751 unmarked graves have been found here. This is one of the largest burial sites found till date. Yet another reminder of the cultural genocide against the Indigenous community, the native people of Canada, a genocide that Canada chooses to forget. Let me tell you about the victims. In Canada, 3 communities make up the Indigenous population: the First Nations, the Métis, and the Inuit peoples. They are the original inhabitants of Canada, and they were targeted in the 19th and 20th centuries. They were victims of a forced assimilation campaign, something like what China is doing right now in Xinjiang, forcing people to conform to a certain culture, religion, ideology, and politics. In Canada, the government funded more than 130 compulsory boarding schools. They were opened in 1883,
Hey, y'all, I want to show y'all this real
and they
quick.
ran until the year 1996, as recently as that, 1996. 70% of these schools were run by the Roman Catholic.
This is the timestamp of the what happened yesterday when on Uncle Suge's channel when Miss Hicks came up here. So just hang on a sec. You see this video has 2,000, almost 3,000 views.
See that? Clyde made the stalker video, question mark. Some things just seem a little off to me, man. That's all I'm saying. She probably get off that goddamn live stream and be laughing like these motherfuckers. I got these people so goddamn stupid. Like these motherfuckers, laughing and going off like a motherfucker. Uh-oh, I think I'm about to get some more heat, y'all.
You already know you about to get some heat. Okay.
I really don't want to hear much what she has to say.
And he has a job, but he's broke.
Wait, so you weren't talking about ZX?
No.
Okay, I thought you was talking about.
So
ZX.
you should have just you have to you was dead wrong about that, and I'm angry about that too.
How are you?
Black Sector, they click the link and subscribe to her channel.
Last, Tanya?
Subscribe to her channel, please.
Not long. It's just that I was just angry because you didn't know what I was doing because you don't know me.
How'd you learn how to use StreamYard?
Because I just saw it in your chat there, and I learned how to do that.
Right. How'd you learn StreamYard?
It's just a button.
I don't know how.
Not just a button.
Yeah, because you said you click it. You click it.
Really?
You see, I just like you click the link. You click the link and subscribe to her channel.
So I'm wrong.
Yes, you are.
Hold on.
Okay.
You can't sit up here. Hold on. Because there's another thing that I wanted to say before Tanya got up here.
Yeah, I really don't concerned with what she has to say. I'm more concerned of clicking the link and hearing what Miss
like I worked in
what Miss Hicks says about she's trying to grow her YouTube channel to over 1,000. Thanks so much, Black Sector.
Intellectual or developmental disability.
Please share this link to your channel and ask everybody you know to share this link.
Work, they can drive, they can use the computer.
I don't drive.
Can read, they can write. Whatever is in their realm of capability of being able to do, they can do. And a huge part of it, as what is considered to be helpful, is the socialization and interacting with people who do not have a disability, because they learn from people who do not have a disability.
Yeah, I was in special ed classes in high school, and I work at the RVW workshop here in New Jersey, and I've been there for like 12 years. And they helped me find a job.
Yeah.
And they're very good to me there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to come out just for a little bit and just say I was getting ready to go to work because I'm a customer host there. So I do, the people that support me, they love me there. So
I bet they do.
Oh, yes, they do.
I bet they do.
Yes.
I would think so.
Yeah, because I thank Easter Seals for that. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I have a brother. He's disabled. He's in a facility, but I can't see. But you know, he can't. They can't put him in a group home because they don't know what he'll do there. You know.
Right.
So I just came on here to clear some things up on my name.
That's that. Thank you for coming.
I want to ask you another question, Tanya. How did you find my channel?
Because I saw it when you had my name in there.
Oh, you've been subscribed to me?
I am, but should I still be subscribed to you or not?
It's up to you.
Yes, I will still be.
See, she said she's still gonna be subscribed
before.
She said
ever, and it was.
She said she's still gonna be subscribed to Suge's channel, man. She's like, should I be? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Straight up, should I be subscribed to your channel? Are you gonna be are you gonna have beef with me? So click the link, subscribe to her channel, man. Click the link and subscribe to her channel, y'all.
Oh.
It was funny to see you pop.
Well, I have a channel of my own. I have a channel of my own called Tanya Hicks, and I do dancing and stuff on there. So you can check it out if you would like to.
Oh, okay, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I just came up here to fix anything of my own. I just came here on my own volition. And you can check out my channel. I do Earth, Wind, and Fire dances. I do chic. I do everything. I have 100 and some subscribers so far, and hopefully I will reach 1,000 for my goal.
No.
Okay, you came in here under your own what?
Volition.
Okay, I got you. I got to look that up. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard what she
So
said.
I just came up here to claim my name. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
She's a
I'm gonna try
content
my
creator.
best. You too, Tanya. Have an awesome day.
You too.
Peace.
Bye. Peace.
There you go.
Jazzy, you would like to finish what you were saying?
Yes.
So
Okay, that's all I'm saying. And also, sometimes because we have to consider like
and hold on, you see the
all
link here?
variables, people will, even if we're right in our period. So I think that if this woman absolutely
Here's right here. You see?
onlookers will say, oh, look at ZX. ZX is so sweet. ZX are dealing with the group. They go to the movies. You take them to the mall. You do all kinds of activities and things like that. They play video games. They do all that. They do all that there. So I didn't think anything was too off with it.
And it's like where I just came in. I came in like on the tail end
channels
of this.
with content
And
creators.
it's right here. This is what I did. You see that?
Developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities. They're on TikTok,
I defined
Instagram,
volition.
all over the place. Doing what it is that
I
they
said,
do.
what's her channel?
And even
I subscribe.
using
I'll
their
subscribe.
disability as a form
See, I
of
put that right there, man.
and trying
Immediately.
to ingratiate that
So
demographic.
I'm not blowing the bullshit.
into
I'm not
what
blowing
is
y'all some
considered
bullshit, man.
normal
I'm serious
and
about
regular
getting this lady
society.
there.
So that's just how I felt about it. So anywho, peace. I'm out. Okay.
Yes, sis. Peace. Awesome commentary, Jazzy. I'm trying to get to this pineapple. What is it? Diesel? Yeah. Shout out to Darren for the contribution to the channel. Salute to you.
I want to get this lady to 1,000 subscribers, man. There's no reason why she shouldn't be there.
Based off Tanya denying allegations and my questions, I will kindly issue an apology. Although I still believe, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'll just say that shit. Some things just don't add up to me. Okay, and my motherfucking I will be watching. Okay, I will be watching the scenery, but I will issue an apology. I don't even know what I'm apologizing for real, for asking a motherfucking question, but I will apologize for the sake of some of y'all sensitive people. I can't apologize for people getting upset for shit that it's their own feelings about something. It's not no one's intentions, Let's
get her monetized, man. She got videos on her channel, man. Let the videos play, man. Subscribe to her channel, let a video play, man.
Anybody else? Shout out to you, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
This is why we should just research before we speak on things. Well, that's only if you speak in indefinites. I would agree with that. It's the research was already researched, and I played all the research and showed you where I came up with my question. There's nothing to research and find out that's going to definitively.
And this is when for Miss Hicks, her channel. So I was gonna put it out there, man. So all people have to do is just click on that link, and it'll automatically subscribe them to her channel.
Awesome.
So
right, bro.
I'm gonna just drop the link, y'all. All you got to do is you don't have to do nothing. Just click the link, and it will automatically, you join her channel. She said she's trying to get to 1,000. I mean, let's get her as much as we can.
That's right, y'all.
I mean, if y'all want to really be, y'all gonna talk your shit, back your shit up, right? I mean, I subscribe to her channel, man. So if you're gonna be here, you're gonna be trying to ride and trying to go hard, then fucking subscribe to the woman's channel. I just watched a couple of her videos, man. She out here trying to get it in, man. Support her, man. She's a content creator. You know, just as somebody, I mean, you too, right? And she's expressing you herself. So I think it's pretty cool, man.
Oh man, yeah, that's awesome, man. That's what we do over here, man. I appreciate that. That's what the team do over here, y'all. You see what I'm saying? We rock out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Here you go. Here's the link. I just put it in the chat, man. So please just click on the link, y'all, and it'll automatically subscribe you to her channel. You know what I'm saying? Chewbacca out.
Oh, appreciate that. Come on.
All right.
I don't think nobody is saying you did anything wrong.
All right. So again, like I said, man, just click the link, man. Let's go back to watching some news, man. There's no reason why she shouldn't have 1,000 subscribers, man. There's no reason why. All 3,000 people watched this video already. It should have been immediately. If it upsets you, you know what I'm saying? Right on, Miss Shanice. Yeah.
Meanwhile, China says that it has the world's largest 5G mobile network.
Let's go here.
It also says it has the world's largest car market, the biggest
Thank
market
you.
of computers, of television, mobile phones, electronics.
Here we go. In fact, talking about how the Catholic Church in Canada is getting kids, man.
Forcing people to conform to a certain culture, religion, ideology, and politics.
Thanks, Uppy. I
In
appreciate
Canada,
it.
the government funded more than 130 compulsory boarding schools. They were opened in 1883, and they ran until the year 1996, as recently as that, 1996. 70% of these schools were run by the Roman Catholic Church. The Canadian government wanted to, quote unquote, assimilate Indigenous children into the Western culture. What it did instead was exploit them. For decades, these children were taken from their families, often by force, and put in these boarding schools. These schools were poorly built, poorly heated. These were unsanitary facilities, infested with abusive authorities. The children suffered sexual and physical abuse. They were barred from speaking their own language.
Right on,
Some
Books,
children
man.
managed to
And when you
escape
get
the
on, man,
torture, but many
please,
others were not so
please,
lucky.
man, you know,
In the year
go ahead and
2008,
share.
Canada established a
Share
National
the link,
Truth
man.
and Reconciliation
Everybody you know to
Commission, a
click it,
body
man.
to investigate these
If everybody
residential
gets somebody they
schools.
know, if they get
The
2 or 3
commission
people they
found
know to
that
click it, man, we're
4,100
gonna get her
children
there,
went
man.
missing from these schools across the country. The indigenous community believes the number is much higher. One estimate says 6,000 children could have died while attending these schools. And now, as more graves emerge, the picture appears far more grim. The judge who led this commission now says that the number of victims could go well beyond 10,000. The same investigation also found the Roman Catholic Church responsible for these heinous crimes. The commission urged the Pope to apologize. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made a personal appeal, but the Roman Catholic Church has categorically rejected all of these demands. So far, the Pope has only expressed sorrow for what happened to these children. The response is unfortunate, but hardly surprising. When has the church apologized or admitted guilt? It is mired in the biggest sexual abuse scandals in the world. For years, the Catholic Church has dealt with complaints of sexual abuse by bishops. What does it do? The church needs to admit its role in the cultural genocide and forced conversion of people all over the world.
Right on, Sora. I appreciate
But
that.
the indigenous communities of Canada are not holding their breath for that to happen. Instead, they've launched a nationwide search for mass graves. Local leaders are referring back to the stories they heard from their elders. And on the basis of these accounts, they're deploying ground-penetrating radars in areas where their schools used to be. And this is how the graves in Saskatchewan were discovered.
Over the past years, the oral stories of our elders, of our survivors, and friends of our survivors have told us stories that knew these burials were here. In 1960, there may have been marks on these graves. The Catholic Church representatives removed these headstones, and today they are unmarked graves.
80-year-old Florence Sparvier went to the same boarding school. Earlier today, she shared that indigenous people were labeled heathens by members of the Catholic Church, and the nuns told the children that they did not have souls.
I'm 80 years old, and I went to boarding school down there. I was taken by my parents to go. At that time, if the parents didn't want to allow their children to go to boarding school, one of them had to go to jail. So in order that we keep the family together, we went to boarding school. They brought us there, we stayed there. And we learned, they pounded it into us, and really they were very mean. When I say pounding, I mean pounding. They made
Look,
us
I just saw
we
somebody
didn't
go
have
live.
souls.
Somebody go live, and they're about to. This guy is about to have some indignation against someone about Miss Hicks, but still ain't asked not one person the first to subscribe to her channel. You know what I'm saying? Please subscribe to her channel, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna put her name, and my name, her name is not even in my description box. It's not. I mean, it's not in my. It's not in the not in my title. So I'm not clout chasing. I'm saying click the link. It's in the description box saying, "Hey, please click the link, man." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. That really makes you mad, man. Seeing that. If you can go on about some other bullshit, man, why can't you go on about that, man? Otherwise, you clout chasing.
They made us believe we did not have souls. It's such a tragic story. These schools were not imparting education. They were systematically destroying a community.
That sounds like the Mormons, man.
Indoctrination, exploitation, physical and mental abuse, all of these are hallmarks of a genocide. These Catholic schools in Canada committed these grave crimes, but the Catholic Church does not admit it was a genocide. Well, neither does Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau projects his country as the vanguard of democratic values, but Canada is yet to acknowledge this genocide against its own people. Officially, Canada recognizes 8 genocides the world over: the Holocaust during the Second World War, the Armenian genocide of 1915, the Ukrainian famine genocide of 1923, the
I had a lot
Rwandan
going
genocide
on
of
last night. I mean, like
1994,
I've been working
Srebrenica
on like a
massacres
couple
in
like huge
1995, the
projects,
mass killing of the Yazidi
and this is like the
people in
first kind of
2014,
chance I
the
had to like
Rohingya
breathe.
genocide in
Since
2016,
then, I was like, you
and
know
the
what?
ongoing genocide of the
I'm still
Uyghurs
working.
in China. Canada has
I'm still working on a couple projects now as I'm doing it, as I'm kind of listening and watching y'all. So I'm really multitasking. So, and I'm that's why I'm like, hey, stop, but click the link. All right.
Recognized all these events as genocide. What about the mass murder of children at home? That, for Canada, does not qualify as genocide. In fact, Canada has largely forgotten about it, or had forgotten, until the mass graves could no longer be ignored. And now more are being discovered, so Canada is being forced to face up to one of the darkest chapters in its history. And we must say here that Canada is not alone. Time and again, several countries have had to do the same. From Australia, where mass graves of Aborigines were discovered in 2014, to the United States, where the remains of Black Americans were unearthed as recently as 2020. To Ireland, where just this year, the Prime Minister acknowledged the massacre of thousands of children at church-run care homes. Far too many countries, for far too many times, have had to confront the horrors of their shameful past.
Tokyo, 20,000 feet below.
Now you are looking at men who are straining like greyhounds to be in among the enemy with a real attack. Senators have endured this agony.
No country is immune to violence. History books are filled with incidents of mass murder, racial cleansing, and religious persecution. And sooner or later, countries have to come face to face with their grim past. In Spain, there's a vast complex near Madrid, where 33,000 victims of the Spanish Civil War are buried. It's called the Valley of the Fallen.
In the aerial bombardment of undefended cities.
It contains mass graves of opponents of Spain's fascist dictator Francisco Franco. Franco ruled Spain from 1939 to 1975. And in this period, he moved the remains of thousands of those he executed to the valley without informing their families. The graves remained out of reach of the families for decades. Until 2018, when Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez made the rehabilitation of these victims a priority. In 2014, 3 unmarked mass burial sites were uncovered in Australia's Fraser Island. The graves belonged to 100 indigenous people who had died at the site in 1897. Their deaths were a result of the Bogimba Creek Mission, a racial segregation program which ran from 1897 to 1904. This mission was a jail without bars. Hundreds of Aborigines who lived on land where the colonizers wanted to run sheep and cattle were rounded up and sent to the Fraser Island. They were forced to live in appalling conditions with minimal resources. Many died of malnutrition and disease. Today, a monument stands at the burial sites in honor of the victims. But Aborigines still remain the most disadvantaged Australians. In October 2020, a mass grave was uncovered at the Oaklawn Cemetery in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The site contained 12 wooden coffins and as many as 18 bodies. It is located just blocks away from the all-black community of Greenwood, where 300 Black Americans were killed in the racial massacre of 1921. Earlier this month, Joe Biden became the first sitting US president to visit a memorial in honor of the victims.
For much too long, the history of what took place here was told in silence.
So, yeah, he was the first president to even visit the place, man. To even visit. The first president to visit. Now, when he visited, he did not do anything else but visit. The most powerful man in the world with the sign of a pen. It was the other day. Did you know the president? He actually did something with credit repair, and he created the right to repair your own credit with the signature of a pen, with the sign in it. I'll play that just a little bit, man.
Cloaked in darkness.
So what I'm saying is even what he did is woefully insufficient.
But just because history is silent, it doesn't mean that it did not take place.
I will participate in a meeting of the members of the...
In January this year, Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin issued a formal apology for the treatment of unmarried women and their babies at state and church-run care homes. The apology came after a 6-year-long inquiry concluded that 9,000 children had died at these care homes.
Each of you is blameless.
The government of Ireland issued an apology for 9,000 mothers and children, which is commendable. 9,000. Now, we know for a fact, should we touch the transatlantic slave trade? No, we can't. We actually can. Yeah, it's something. I'll play it just shortly, and you can see. You'll see it frees up things and gives a little more freedom in what we can do. So, hang on a second.
Who did nothing wrong and has nothing to be ashamed of. Each of you deserved so much better.
They operated as recently as 1998. but there are no burial records of those who died. The Irish government is now planning to excavate several sites across their territory to give closure to the families. The grim reality of mass graves isn't confined to one time period or one geographical location. They remain scattered across the world, serving as a reminder of the shameful past of their respective countries. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Terrain and culture, two things that have defeated the world's strongest militaries. It doesn't matter how much firepower you have. Without local knowledge, defeat is certain. America learned this in Vietnam, the Russians learned it in Afghanistan, and last year China learned it in the Galwan Valley. Chinese soldiers are bred in the plains. They're used to the warm and wet tropics. But in high altitudes, warfare is about survival, wearing heavy padded fatigues, withstanding sub-zero temperatures, marching up steep valleys. Your average Chinese soldier is simply not cut out for this. So what does China do? Look for new soldiers, men who are used to this rugged terrain. And they've settled on Tibet. It seems like an obvious choice. The Tibetan terrain is similar to the LAC, or the line of actual control. By hiring soldiers from Tibet, China is trying to tick the two boxes, terrain and culture. Reports say 2 batches have been recruited already, 2 batches of 100 soldiers each. The first one has completed training with the Chinese army. They have been deployed across the Chumbi Valley in Tibet. Now, why is this important? Let me pull up the map. The point marked in red here is the Chumbi Valley. To the east is Bhutan. To the west, the Indian state of Sikkim. The Chumbi Valley is shaped like a dagger. And this dagger is pointing right at India's Siliguri corridor, what is often called the chicken's neck. So Chumbi Valley is a strategic choke point. And that's where the first batch of troops trained by China is. The second batch is still being trained. They are at the PLA's facility in Fari. It's important to note that these fighters are not Chinese soldiers. They do not wear PLA uniforms, Chinese military uniforms. They do not have ranks or designations. They are a militia. China's plan is to exploit their guile and local awareness. Another point to note, unemployment is rampant in Tibet thanks to China, so recruiting these men is not really a challenge. But ensuring their loyalty, well, that's the real task. How is China planning to do this? By swapping communism for some good old religious play. You won't believe this. The Tibetan recruits are apparently taken to Buddhist monks. They are blessed after their training is complete. There is no record of China ever doing this. So why now? To win their loyalty, of course. Shocking how times change. The same China massacred these monks in the last century. And now they're being venerated for military gains. The perks of having ambitions and not principles. So that's part one of China's plan, to hire local fighters. The second is to acclimatize PLA soldiers to high altitude. So China carried out a massive military drill in Tibet. The PLA called it record-breaking. The drill focused on 3 tasks. 1 is training with cutting-edge technology, 2, combat exercises, and 3, high-altitude training. The drills were organized at a height of more than 3,700 meters. Snipers, field repair, and rescue teams were all part of it. The PLA's aviation unit also got involved. They deployed attack helicopters while the ground forces trained. We know the drill happened in Tibet. But where in Tibet? Well, China won't say. What should India make of these moves then? There are 2 ways of looking at it. 1, the PLA is not exactly invincible. Their high altitude capacities are woeful. And it was exposed during the clashes in Galwan. The problem is, Chinese soldiers are much like Chinese goods, assembly line products. In 2010, there were 2.1 million Han servicemen in the PLA. And just 4,300 Tibetans. Most of the Han soldiers do not do well in the hills. So Chinese invincibility along the LAC is a false. India, well, not yet. As we just told you, China is fast closing this gap. They recently set up the Special Tibetan Army Unit. Now they're hiring Tibetan militias. It doesn't take long for China to tweak its assembly line, so these Tibetan tactics must be watched carefully. Reports say the LAC disengagement has stalled. And we know there's no one better at biding their time than the Chinese. Local soldiers will change the complexion of the LAC, and they will even out the terrain and culture advantage that India may have. So this is a time for vigilance and suspicion. If China is preparing for battle, India, at the very least, should be on the lookout. In the United States, a frantic race is underway, a race to save lives. On Thursday, a 12-story apartment in Florida crumbled to the ground. It was a short while past midnight. Most of these residents were asleep in their beds. More than 100 of them are still unaccounted for. Rescue work happened through the night. There's no dearth of resources, we're told, but time is running out. The locals want to know how a seemingly steady building collapsed. But for the families, right now, it's all about finding their loved ones.
The searchlights are blasting at full power. Emergency workers are raggedly sifting through the rubble. The golden hours are ticking by, and with them, any hope of finding the missing. Disaster struck early on Thursday, even before the first streaks of sunlight hit the coast of Miami. A 12-story beachfront condo collapsed to the ground. Residents say it was like a bomb went off.
So there's a third of the entire building that you cannot see from the street, but it's completely gone in the back towards the beach side. And it just looks like, it almost looks like I said, like 9/11, like if a bomb hit or something, and it just completely wiped it out.
When the dust settled, this was the sight. Twisted metals jutting from the corners, beds and wardrobes hanging from the edge. Concrete blocks strewn across the street. What about the residents? There are multiple casualties and more than 100 still unaccounted for, possibly buried under this pile of debris. Rescuers have been working non-stop, combing through the rubble, searching for survivors. Late into the night on Thursday, they had some success. This young boy was pulled out from under the debris. He was laid on a stretcher and taken to the hospital. President Joe Biden has offered federal resources to bolster the search.
We are ready to move from the federal resources immediately, if in fact we're asked for it. But we can't go in and do it now, but the FEMA is down there, taking a look at what's needed, and including from everything from if the rest of those buildings have to be evacuated as well, finding housing for those people.
The locals here are scared and traumatized, but they also want answers. How did a seemingly robust building collapse? The condo was in the process of being recertified. It's a routine inspection that happens every 40 years. There was work being done on the roof and elsewhere. Did these repairs trigger the collapse? It's still too early to say. For the families of the missing, these questions can wait.
We have that apartment and they are friends of the family. And just today they had decided to stay the night. Of all days, they chose the worst one to stay there. And this happened.
It's all up to these rescuers now. They are working double shifts, marching selflessly into collapsing basements. They are on the lookout for signs of life, a deep sigh or a squeal for help. But time is not on their side. Florida is staring at one of its worst disasters. These eerie pictures of a shared condo will forever haunt its residents. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Twitter's policies and intentions are obscure, totally out of line with its claims. Freedom of speech, for example. Twitter tries to be the harbinger. What the platform actually does is often block free speech. We told you about our run-in with Twitter, how it blocked our report on abortion. Twitter, it seems, has become a habitual offender. It has now blocked India's Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad. Twitter denied the minister access to his own account for a good 1 hour. Why? On grounds that there was apparently a violation of a US law. What law? The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA. What Twitter slapped India's IT minister with was copyright violation, and that too for posting clips of himself from television debates. It would have been funny had it been fictional.
Twitter
But
copyright
this really
strike.
did happen.
They flagged.
And this is serious.
Twitter flagged his video, man. Man. Twitter flagged his own video himself, man. You know what I'm saying? I guess he didn't have the he didn't say the little disclaimer everybody says, man. But Twitter flagged him. Wow.
The minister shared screenshots. He called out Twitter's high-handedness. He pointed out how the platform had failed to give him any prior notice. He also said that no TV channel had made any complaints against his posts. So what gives?
But no, but people, these same people that had a problem though when Trump got blocked. The same people, like I said, man, free speech is to protect impolite speech, not to protect polite speech. You don't have to protect polite speech. It's already protected. It doesn't offend anybody. But what if it's something that you said? When is it? When if it went? You got to always look back, man. It's like, think, what if it's something that I say that pisses somebody off? Do I want to get put in jail? Do I want to be silenced? And then put yourself in that person's shoes. And then assess the situation. You know, what sticks and stones and break my bone, but words never hurt me. There you go, man. Oh, yeah. Click the link. Please click the link. We're trying to get Miss Hicks to 1,000 subscribers, y'all.
What copyright infringement is Twitter talking about? And honestly, none of this is surprising, given Twitter's track record and the fact that the platform is at loggerheads with the government of India, and the minister in question is the one in charge of bringing Twitter to book. But this show of hardihood was totally uncalled for. It was also in violation of the law of the land, of an Indian law. Ravi Shankar Prasad points out that Twitter's actions violate the new IT rules of India, the same rules that Twitter refuses to follow. Let me give you a quick background. Under India's new IT rules, social media platforms with more than 50 lakh users have to appoint a grievance officer, a nodal officer, and a chief compliance officer. All of them must be residents of India. Number two, social media platforms will have to take down flagged content within 36 hours. The window is 24 hours for content flagged for nudity and pornography. Now, Twitter has not complied with these rules.
What's up, bro?
For most part, it has been crying threat to freedom of speech. It has accused the government of India of quote-unquote dangerous overreach. And all of this is quite ironical given Twitter's own recent actions, its recent history, its obscure policies, its cancel culture, and the threat it poses to free speech. Quick recap. In January, Twitter blocked then US President Donald Trump. Why? Twitter pointed at Trump's dangerous rhetoric, equated it with threat to democracy. The dawn of this realization conveniently coincided with the end of Trump's presidency. In June, Twitter then deleted a tweet by Nigeria's president. Muhammadu Buhari had issued a threat to suspected separatists. Twitter deleted it and said that this tweet was abusive. Who decides what is abusive, though? Like I said, Twitter's policies are obscure, its action often in violation of the right to free speech. Now, Twitter must realize that it will be called out every time it blocks a narrative that does not suit its agenda. It can no longer get away with this. The threat of digital colonization is real, and India should not bend to this. You see, Twitter, or big tech in general, is reenacting what the British East India Company did in the 17th century. It killed small and local businesses, established a monopoly, and then went after governments and their policies. And this is playing out worldwide today. Companies like Twitter, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they're all at loggerheads with countries around the world. And we've been reporting on this on Gravitas. Today, since we're talking about India, we'll stick to examples from India. In the 1600s, the British East India Company set its eyes on India's spices and raw materials. Today, in 2021, Silicon Valley giants are fighting it out for India's online market, the biggest market after China. In 2020, Amazon challenged a probe announced by India. Earlier this year, WhatsApp tried to slap obscure policies on India, abuse its legal gaps, and now Twitter is refusing to cooperate with the government of India. It is trying to bully, blackmail, and challenge elected lawmakers. Was the violation of India's new IT rules Twitter's messaging to the government? Was this a show of non-obedience? In that case, the message from the government of India is clear, and let me quote from what the minister said today. No matter what any platform does, they will have to abide by the new rules, the new IT rules fully, and there shall be no compromise on that. Vaccines were supposed to be the silver bullet to end this pandemic, but now new variants and rare adverse events have put them back under the scanner. Experts fear the new Delta Plus variant could escape the immunity given by vaccines. And in America, the Pfizer and Moderna shots will now come with a new label, a warning against heart inflammation. Our next report tells you more.
A new variant of the Wuhan virus is quickly becoming a matter of concern. 12 countries have now detected the Delta Plus, the new and slightly different version of the Delta variant that was found in India. The Delta Plus is showing several worrying traits. Reports say it is more transmissible. It can attach to your lung cells with greater strength, and it can also reduce the immune response produced by existing antibodies. So much so that experts fear vaccines may not work against the Delta Plus. What makes it so dangerous? Blame a specific mutation in this variant. Scientists call it the K417N. It has been seen before in the Beta variant from South Africa. This mutation is known to reduce the effectiveness of monoclonal antibodies. What's that? A treatment of artificially produced antibodies. The same treatment was given to US President Donald Trump. What about vaccines? Studies are still underway to test vaccines against this mutation. But experts have reason to believe vaccines will be less effective against the Delta Plus. What's the solution? Booster shots. The World Health Organization might recommend one soon. Reports say the WHO has prepared a forecast. It says that the most vulnerable people, like the elderly, will need an annual vaccine booster for protection against variants. What about other age groups? They may need a booster shot in 2 years. The guidelines are still work in progress. Will people take booster shots? Are people taking regular shots? Rare side effects from vaccines are adding to hesitancy. The latest case is from Pfizer and Moderna. Their vaccines will now come with a warning label. They may cause heart inflammation. The order has come from the US FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. Pfizer and Moderna vaccines triggered rare cases of heart inflammation in adolescents and young adults. So they will now have to list heart inflammation as a possible side effect. American officials say the side effect is extremely rare, and patients with heart inflammation recover quickly. But here's a fact. Wuhan virus shots were the world's fastest produced vaccines. Produced, tested, and rolled out within months. As more and more people get vaccinated, the regulators are still learning about the impact of the vaccines.
Agreed, man.
Still understanding the risks. And yet, the medical advice is clear and unanimous. The benefits outweigh the risks. Bureau Report, we own. World is one.
They say in politics, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Europe's big two decided to put this to the test. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. What did they want? A meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. It seems everyone wants to meet him nowadays. First Joe Biden and now Macron and Merkel. But why the sudden urge for a summit? The last face-to-face was in 2014 before the Crimean invasion. And since then, relations have hit rock bottom. The list of differences do not end, from cyber attacks to Russian interference in eastern Ukraine. There's a lot going on here. So why does Europe's big two want an audience with Putin? It's quite simple. Talks are better than conflict. Both Merkel and Macron are typical European centrists. They believe in meeting, shaking hands, and talking things out. But what about the rest of Europe? Not so eager. Listen to this.
If it pans out the way it's proposed, is that Russia annexes Crimea, Russia wages war in Donbass, and Europe shrugs.
Again, the real purpose of me doing this stream is to help Miss Hicks get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to, I try to do, try to show, show news. You guys know I'm a news junkie and all that stuff, man. So I like, like to see, look for the story behind the story. Well, like Dick Gregory says, man, the story behind the story, man. It's what they don't tell you, it's what they're telling you. But it's something I like to share with y'all. Y'all know that. But also, man, the real purpose is I'm trying to help Miss Tanya Hicks get to 1,000 subscribers. So just click on the link that I just dropped in the description box in the chat. Just click on the link; it will automatically subscribe you to her channel. And I would ask that you would ask other people, at least 2 or 3 other people, to click the link. She said that her goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I played it. You guys saw that. Her goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. And so I'm going to do what I can to help her get there. And I'm asking you to help me do that. And all it takes is literally clicking a link. That's the title of this. And in the description box, there's also the link. So yeah, Ken, I got the Pfizer one. And it's funny, I own Moderna stock, but I got the Pfizer one, and my shoulder still hurts, man. And I got that June 16th was my second shot. So, but yeah, anyway, man, please click the link so you can subscribe to Miss Hicks channel. If you have over 1,000 subscribers, please, I'm asking that you share this in your community tab. Share the link in your community tab and share it to people. Share it to as many people as you can. We're trying to get this lady to 1,000 subscribers. She was on a video yesterday with Suge, and that video almost has 3,000 views. And there's other people right now that's live, that's clout chasing off this same thing, and there's clout chasing this, but really are not offering any solution. What I'm trying to do is offer a solution, and that's to help this lady get to what she's trying to do. And she is trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So why can't we help her get there? This is an auto subscribe link. So what it does is, if you click on it, it will. If you're not subscribed to her channel, it will automatically subscribe to her channel. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, Mad Head. Who knows, man? Who knows? Sometimes, Mad Head, you say some stuff, man, that it might get people might rub people the wrong way, man. Me, I like to. Who's in charge here? I'm in charge. I mean, I've been watching you for a while, bro. So, but anyway, here we go.
Its shoulders and continues to try to speak a dialogue.
I don't mind meeting
I know
with
she's not
Vladimir
subscribed to me,
Putin
so
by the 2 presidents.
She's not subscribed to me. I don't think she knows who I am. So, but it's a rare chance, man, in your life when you're able to help someone achieve their goals, achieve their dreams. And if you able to do it with as little effort as possible, by literally, bam, by left clicking a mouse, and you're able to help somebody achieve their dream. That's easy. So, and if that's her dream, and damn it, then all I gotta do is just click a link and shit. I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna ask people to do it, man. So I worry out till I ask you, man. Please click the link. Please click the link. Thank you.
I will not participate in the meeting with Vladimir Putin myself, as European country.
If without any changes, positive changes in the behavior of Russia, we will start to engage, it will send very uncertain and bad signal to our partners, for example, Eastern Partnership countries.
Since the EU works on consensus, the proposal was dropped. There will be no summit between Russia and the European Union, but there's a larger realignment happening here. For decades, Europe was America's lackey. Washington goes to war, Europe follows. They invade Iraq, so does Europe. They go to Afghanistan, so does Europe. This arrangement has worked well for both sides. Europe is shielded by America's big guns, and America has a fiefdom across the Atlantic. But times have changed. America is a superpower on the decline. The European Union sees itself as a world leader now, and world leaders have their own foreign policy. And that's what Macron and Merkel are trying to do, chart their own course, deal with Russia on their own terms. Does this mean Moscow's adventurism is forgiven? Well, not really. The French president sees this dialogue as necessary, not to embrace Russia, but to defend Europe's own interests, he says.
L'Europe continue d'avancer, de déployer ce...
We stand by the idea of having a dialogue to defend our interests as Europeans with firmness. So we are defining the Europeans' unity in this dialogue with Russia. We stand by the fact that we have this dialogue which is necessary to the European continent's stability. But it will be demanding because we will neither surrender our values
this should
nor
be
our
concerning to
interests.
Americans.
Ce qui nous impose d'être...
And this is why this should be concerning to Americans. When people were supposed to be our allies, when they said our interests no longer, all of our interests should be in alignment. You know, this ally should be in alignment. You know, and when they start to say, "Hey, America, we have different interests than you do," then it's either we got to do a self-check, or we need to start to look to check those who we call our allies, man. But you know, hey, that at $1.59 to get you a can of pop.
Most of the opposition is coming from Eastern Europe. And there's a reason why. Russia shares a 2,250-kilometer-long border with the EU. These border states are not interested in talks. They understand the threat of Russian expansionism. As for Germany and France, well, they're nestled inside the EU, away from the Russian reach. So they propose talks. And they haven't given up on the idea yet. The question is, how long can the small Baltic states resist? France and Germany are the big two. One is the economic powerhouse. The other is the only nuclear power in the bloc. Together, they have enough influence to organize a summit. How does Russia see all of this? What is it saying? It believes the proposal was linked to Joe Biden's meeting with Putin. Russia thinks the Geneva summit was a signal to Europe, a signal that Vladimir Putin is not a pariah anymore and that Europe must also try and talk out differences. But getting there will not be easy. You have 27 sovereign nations clamoring over one foreign policy. It's a recipe for logjam. Moscow won't mind these divisions, though. In fact, it will encourage them. Russia, you see, is Europe's biggest source of energy. Its interests coincide on Iran, Syria, and Libya. So a divided Europe benefits it. No solidarity, no sanctions. As for Europe, this is a test of their independence and their resolve. On China, they have been more than happy to ditch the Americans. Russia, being a neighbor, is a bit more complicated, but the principle is the same. Permanent interests, not permanent enemies. India's homemade shot, Covaxin, is at the center of a storm in Brazil. Last year, the makers of Covaxin had offered to sell the vaccine in Brazil. An agreement was signed in February this year. But now the deal is under investigation. Brazil's federal prosecutors suspect corruption in the way the agreement was reached. And at the center of it all is a middleman.
It's an agreement worth $320 million. An agreement for 20 million doses of Covaxin. Brazil wanted to buy the made in India Wuhan virus vaccine. The deal was signed in February this year. But now the agreement is under the lens of Brazil's federal prosecutors. Precisa Medicamentos, the representative of Bharat Biotech in Brazil, is facing heat. Reports say that it had quoted a cost of $15 per dose. Brazilian prosecutors believe that this price was higher than any other vaccine in the market. The track record of Precisa Medicamentos is another reason for scrutiny. The company's associates have been accused of irregularities in their previous contracts with the Brazilian government. In a statement, Precisa Medicamentos maintains that it has negotiated the same price with the governments of 13 other countries. The response failed to convince Brazil's lawmakers. They have launched an inquiry. A Brazilian Senate commission is conducting its own scrutiny of the deal. A shareholder of Precisa Medicamentos was supposed to appear before the lawmakers this week, but he has requested for another date, saying that he is in quarantine after traveling to India. Brazil's president, Jair Bolsonaro, has come to the defense of the deal. Bolsonaro says his government has not spent 1 cent on Covaxin and that the country hasn't received even a single dose of the vaccine. So there is no question of corruption. How does Bharat Biotech, the maker of Covaxin, look at this controversy? In a statement, the company said that it is yet to provide vaccine supplies to Brazil and that it has been consistent and transparent in its pricing with all governments. Covaxin is yet to be approved for public use in Brazil. For now, it has been permitted to conduct a phase 3 trial, but how this investigation unfolds could very well have a bearing on the future of Covaxin in Brazil. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Do you crave a burger every time you see it in an ad? Do you want to order pizza every time TV commercials show you perfectly melted mozzarella pulled between pizza slices? Does the sight of a fried chicken bucket make you hungry? See? That's the whole point of advertisements. They're supposed to influence human behavior, get under your skin, persuade you to buy the product, eat that burger, reach for your phone and order the pizza, the bucket of fried chicken. You may not drive to the nearest food joint and grab a calorie bomb right away, but that image of the thick pattied burger will trigger a stimulation in your brain. An expert says you'll start scrying around in your kitchen and you might not even make the link between what you've seen on TV and why you suddenly have a hankering for food. Well, we adults understand the psychology of ads. We can control our food cravings, well, most of the times, and with some effort, we can even train our brains to navigate junk food. But what about children? How do you stop them from reaching for sugary treats and fattening savories? The United Kingdom has come up with a solution. It has decided to ban junk food ads before 9 p.m. First things first, what qualifies as junk food? Food products that are high on sugar, salt, and fat, the likes of chocolate, burgers, soft drink, cakes, sweets, ice creams, biscuits, packed juices, chips, crisps, pizza, you get the drift. TV channels will only be allowed to air ads selling these products after 9 p.m., which is post the average bedtime of children. Now, this is a very good move. And that's the reason why we chose to talk about it tonight. You see, if a country wants to fight obesity, it must start early, start with the children. The UK government's move hits the nail on its head. Instead of asking junk food companies to reduce sugar content in their products, only to have them replace it with another unhealthy ingredient and sell the same product as 0 calories, this ban on junk food ads reduces a child's exposure to junk food. It reduces his or her craving for it. You may say, children cannot tell, that they're too young to identify products based on their ads. But you'll be surprised how children today know way more than you think they do. In 2018, researchers studied nearly 300 children from China, Brazil, Pakistan, Russia, Nigeria, and India, all of them aged 5 and 6. They were shown photos of popular brands, both local and international. More than 60% could associate a Coca-Cola swirl with an image of a soda glass. A study found that children today prefer junk snacks over traditional home-cooked food. I would say this is true for children even below 5 or 6. I want to show you a viral video from last year. It's of a 4-year-old girl. Her name is Lila. She bursts into tears because she's told she will have to eat mummy's cooking.
Actually got to eat mummy's cooking now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's because mama cooking needs some. Her mama cooking needs some paprika. She needs some paprika on that, but some season salt. That's what's wrong with her mama cooking. That's why she crying. Hold on a second.
So hut's closed too. Where else did we eat? So we can't get no McDonald's. No, I'm really sorry. I know, so do I. We could have had one more left.
Well, it's an adorable video and it tells a story. There's a reason children as young as 4 today are familiar and addicted to junk. And the reason is targeted advertising, audience-specific ad placement. Allow me to explain. Say I'm a company that sells candies. Then my target audience will be children. So I will try to place my ads in between shows that children watch, in channels that air, say, cartoons and children's shows. And a lot of money goes into this. The University of Connecticut found that food, beverage, and restaurant companies spend almost $14 billion on advertising every year. And this is in the US alone. More than 80% of these ads promote fast food, sugary drinks, candy, and unhealthy snacks. If $14 billion is spent in the US alone, you can imagine what the global sum looks like. A study conducted in the UK found that children were exposed to 15 billion junk food ads online in 2019. 15 billion ads. Let that sink in. Another study conducted in Australia found 30,000 hours of television containing more than 500 hours of food advertising. Now, we all know the link between junk food and obesity. According to the World Health Organization, 340 million children and adolescents between the age of 5 and 19 were overweight or obese. This was as of 2016. The WHO also backs the link between high fat and sugar food and obesity. And I want to remind you that junk and processed food increases the risk of at least 12 types of cancer. In short, junk food ads are carcinogenic, if I'm allowed to put it this way. The question now is, what are we doing about all of this? What are countries doing to keep children away from unhealthy food? Canada, or Quebec, to be specific, has banned all ads during children's programs. Sweden has done the same. Australia, too, is reportedly mulling a similar ban. There are at least 30 countries, including Malaysia, South Korea, and many in Europe, that have set some limit on television advertising to children. What about India? In 2020, India banned junk food ads and sales in school canteens. And
People
up to
gotta think,
50
man.
meters
What
of a
happens when
school
they ban something that you like, man?
Let's say the rules will be put to test once the schools reopen.
You know
We'll
what I'm
wrap
saying?
with that, leaving you as always with Gravitas
Sure.
Images. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.
All right, y'all. Yeah, okay. I don't trust that at all. All right, then. Exactly. They want children to be vegetarians, man. Something comes when you eat meat. It gives you a little bit extra hunger. I like to think, I like to have that aggression I get when I eat steak. So, all right, y'all. I gotta go. But thank you so much for kind of hanging out with me. Please, again, subscribe to Miss Hicks' channel, man. Click the link click this link, share this link. If you have multiple channels, please click on them and multiple channels, man, and subscribe. We're trying to get this like to 1,000 subscribers. All right, thank you so much. Peace.